Good evening, everybody. As you can see, we are going live and you are watching ex Muslim Aisha Rajput's channel. Today's topic is related to child marriage in Islam, that how Islam legalizes pedophilia. Today, we are not only going to see the example of Muhammad, but there are other caliph as well who were pedophiles. So, before we start, let's talk about Pakistan. So, in Pakistan, last month in May, a bill was presented in National Assembly by a female politician of Pakistan, Sharmila Farooqi. It was related to banning child marriage in Pakistan. She put that bill on 16th of May. And on 19th of May, there is another female politician, Shiri Rahman. She presented that bill in Senate. Okay, this bill has been passed by the president of Pakistan, Asif Zardari, but it's only applicable in Islamabad. And why is it so? Because of the Islamic Council of Pakistan. So basically, Islamic Council rejected this child marriage bill and they protested against it. Now, whenever we ex-Muslims talk about child marriage or pedophilia in Islam, so Muslims say that we are lying, and they often try to lie about the age of Aisha. Some of them try to say, no, she was 18 years old, whereas their own hadith book, Sahih Bukhari, says that she was barely 6 years old when she was married to Muhammad. And when she slept with Muhammad, she was 9 years old. So it is a established fact, and you can see that through their hadith books. But now, when it comes to this Islamic Council of Pakistan, they protested against this child marriage bill. And you can obviously imagine that why they would do so. They did it because they said that it was against Islam. It is against teaching of Islam. So those Muslims who protest when we ex-Muslims talk about pedophilia in Islam, now they should answer that where are they hiding now? Because Islamic Council of Pakistan is right now protesting against this bill of child marriage. They don't want this anti-child marriage bill in Pakistan. So I want to ask those Muslims that will they now accept that Aisha was 6 years old when she was married to Muhammad, or when Muhammad slept with Aisha, she was 9 years old. Will they accept it now? Now they should, because Islamic Council of Pakistan has accepted this fact, and that is why they are right now protesting in Pakistan against this anti-child marriage bill. Okay, so first of all, I will show the statistics of Pakistan, as you can see. All right. So what I was showing you was this picture. Okay, according to it, 6 million girls in Pakistan get married before the age of 15, and around 20.5 million girls get married before the age of 18 in Pakistan. So 4% girls are getting married before the age of 15 in Pakistan, and 18% of girls are getting married before the age of 18 in Pakistan. So these are the statistics. Okay, so here I will show you this picture of a Muslim scholar, Fazl Rahman. So he has given this warning that he will help protests all around Pakistan, in each and every city of Pakistan, against this anti-child marriage bill. So can Muslims tell me that why is he doing so? Why he is so furious about it? Because these Muslim scholars, they are openly owning it. They are openly owning their Sahih Bukhari's hadith. Because Muhammad married a child, so this anti-marriage child cannot be applicable in an Islamic country like Pakistan. So now what Muslims will say? Here, as you can see, like Pakistan's own forums are giving this news that Islamic Council has rejected ban on child marriage. Okay, and here you can see the reaction of some other so-called liberal, not liberal, so-called scholars in Pakistan, like this guy Kaisar Ahmad Raja, which is basically a Islamist, but he is holding Dutch passport. He's basically one of those Muslims who want to settle abroad, but still want to, advocate for Islam, for Islamic teachings. And when they are in Pakistan, they have very extremist views. They support blasphemy laws in Pakistan, and due to them, many kids are now are in prison, are in jail because of these kind of Islamists. Kaisar Ahmad Raja, let's see what he says. They see seculars. People under 18 must not be allowed to get married. Okay, this is what he believes we Desi seculars say. Also, Desi seculars having a boyfriend or a girlfriend at the age of 16 is so cool. Okay, so basically here he is, trying to criticize Western culture of boyfriend and girlfriend. Meanwhile, he is holding Dutch passport. So this hypocrite is having Dutch passport, and to get Dutch passport, you have to basically give up on your Pakistani nationality. So he has done that. He's holding Dutch passport, but here, sitting in Pakistan, he's criticizing Western culture, that he's against boyfriend and girlfriend culture. So why teenage boys, girls, or the boys, girls who are in their 20s, they are having relationships, but they can't get married according to us, like they see Muslims. So there's a lot of difference between just having a relationship and getting married, and especially the kind of marriage that Islam endorses, where a minor girl can be married to a middle-aged man, like she has not received any education, she's not independent financially, because in Islam, man is the one who is provider. So, do you think this empowers a woman? This will empower that girl, or she will end up in a very helpless situation where she is totally dependent on a middle aged man. He can sexually abuse her, he can make her have endless amount of kids, and she won't be able to escape that marriage because she is not financially independent, she's not educated. Imagine a 9 or 10-year-old girl getting married to a middle aged man. Obviously, that middle aged man has more experience of life. He can easily dominate that girl. Not he can easily not allow her to get education. He can put restriction on her, and she will have to follow it like a submitting wife, because this is what Islam says, that only those women are good who are submitting to their man. So this is the kind of situation which a young girl can end up in, and this is the kind of marriage that Islam promotes. So do you think that you can compare this with a normal boyfriend girlfriend kind of relationship, just so that one could have halal sex? And what is the difference between halal sex and haram sex? Just that you say kabul hai for like, three times, just you say this word and anything becomes halal. Just like chicken, just like when you eat mutton or beef, you just have to say Allahu Akbar and now it's halal. This is the most stupid kind of idea. What's the difference? What's the difference? If I eat chicken, if I eat any chicken, why you have to say Allahu Akbar on it? So this is the kind of stupid ideology that they believe in. Obviously, when kids will grow up, when they will reach puberty, they will engage in sexual activities. And that is why Western culture has introduced this concept of sex education to teach their kids that how they can have sex, how they can have protected sex, where a girl is not getting pregnant, where she knows how to avoid unwanted pregnancy. And the boy knows this thing as well. So there's a lot of difference. Just for having this so-called halal sex with three kabul hai word, you will destroy a girl's life. You will get her married. You will get her shifted to a middle-aged man house, so he could put all kind of restrictions on her. This is the most stupid kind of idea. In West, when kids or when teenage boys or girls, they indulge in such kind of relationships like boyfriend and girlfriend, they know their limitations, they know what they are doing. They are told that how they can have protected sex, and if they do, it's just sex. Nobody is controlling anyone's life. They can study, they can work later on, they can build their own career. Where is in the kind of marriage that Islam promotes, girls have no choice. Forget about young child, 9 year old, 10 years old child. Even a 25-year-old or a 30-year-old woman has no choice when she's married to a Muslim man. Anyways, okay, child marriage in Pakistan. According to UNICEF, 2018, around 18% girls in Pakistan are married before the age of 18. So these are all the reports. Okay, so if we read about this child marriage restraint bill, so it has its own history. Like in 2018, these similar Islamic parties like Jamiyat Ulma Islam and Jamiyat Islami, these were the two parties who opposed this bill. So you can imagine that why only these Islamic parties have, this opposition or this rejection for such bills. Every time, whenever there is any bill related to domestic violence, related to marital rape, or related to child marriage, these so-called Islamic parties show their opposition. Why? Because they know it's allowed in Islam. But the hypocrite Muslims, they won't accept it. When they will come to my live stream, they will not accept it at all. They will be like, no, Islam is a very peaceful religion. It teaches to respect women. Then why are you not passing this domestic violence law or child marriage, anti-child marriage law? So this is what Islam is. Okay. Now we can move to some Quranic verses and Hadith. Okay, this is a very famous Hadith. Okay, it is from Surah Talaq, where it is said, as for your women past the age of menstruation, in case you don't know, their waiting period is 3 months, and those who have not menstruated as well. So according to this ayat of Surah Talaq, number 4 ayah, it is said that those women who are having their menses, like they are adults, like they have reached the age of puberty, and if they get divorced, their iddat period or their time of waiting is of 3 months. And those women who have not reached the age of puberty, like who are not having their menses, if they get divorced, they will still have to observe 3 months iddat period. And why they would have to do so? They would have to do so because it's allowed in Islam to have marriage with a child. That is why, they are talking about those girls who have not started their menses. So you can basically have intercourse with them, and you should know, like, what was the logic behind this is the thing, whereas there is no logic in Islam, but the people who are following Islam, they try to give this logic that in those 3 months time, like, women can figure out if they are pregnant or not. So it means that you can have intercourse with a child. That is why that girl would have to observe iddat, right? Like, in case she gets pregnant, even though she's not having periods, even though she's not having menses, but it means that men are allowed to have sex with underage girls. Okay, here there is another hadith, very famous, of Sahih Bukhari. Prophet married her, like, this is narrated by Aisha. Aisha herself said this, that Prophet married her when she was 6 years old, and he consummated his marriage when she was 9 years old. So Aisha herself told this, like, she was just 6 years old when she got married to Muhammad. Okay. Mm, mm. This is another hadith related to Aisha's marriage to Muhammad, that how Aisha used to play with dolls. This is Aisha again. She herself narrated this. I used to play with dolls in the presence of Prophet, and my girlfriends also used to play with dolls. And it was allowed Aisha for uh, okay, now again, but it was allowed for Aisha, because in Islam it's not allowed. It's haram to play with dolls or to make any kind of image of a living thing. But it was allowed for Aisha at that time, as she was a little girl, not yet reached the age of puberty. This is what their own hadith, Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, that she didn't reach the age of puberty. She used to play with dolls and she was a little girl. So you can't deny this fact. And that is why now you would see that child marriage bill, although it has been passed in Pakistan, but it is facing a lot of opposition from Muslim scholars. And not just Pakistan. Let me show you some other stuff. Here you can see the news of Yemen, where this little girl who was married to this old age man, she died due to internal bleeding. And why this thing happened, I will also tell you all the medical consequences when these immature, these underage girls are married to these older men. So what kind of medical problems they could face, I will tell you later on about it. But you can see that this was in the news, that she died because of internal bleeding, because she was not able to handle intercourse. She was a child whose female reproductive tract, her female reproductive parts were not fully developed. Still, this old age man like Muhammad raped her. Basically, it's a rape, because such small girls, they can't give their consent. So basically, this girl was raped and she died on the wedding night. You can see the CNN report, that how 9-year-old girls are being, they are sold to 55 years old men in Afghanistan, in all these Islamic countries like Afghanistan, like Iraq. And this is very famous, like in Iraq. According to Iraq's new law, allowing children as young as 9 to marry undermine women or girls' rights. Okay, so in Iraq, previously it used to be 18 years of age when it was allowed for girls to marry, but now it's 9 years. And can any Muslim tell me that why particularly like 9 years? Why not? Why didn't they allow girls of any other age? Why only 9 years? They could have said 13, 15, because obviously child marriage is allowed in Pakistan. Oh, sorry, in Islam. But why only 9 years? Because Aisha was also of 9 years. So this is the reason. Okay, now before we move to the medical consequences, let me show you another thing, another hadith. Okay, this is Sunan Ibn Majah's hadith. As you can see, Aisha herself narrated that my mother was trying to fatten me up when she wanted to send me to the messenger of Allah. When she got married, but nothing worked until date cucumbers. Like you can tell that she was a little girl. Muslims often, lie about one thing. They say like in those times, in that era, girl used to reach puberty very early, and they used to be, thick. They used to have such heavy bodies that they could, that they could tolerate sexual activities or intercourse. But then why, Aisha's mother was feeding her these cucumber dates so that she could gain weight, or she could become thick, or she could look like a woman, not a little girl? Why? Because she was a little girl, because she was a minor. So her mother was like trying to fatten her up. For whom? For Muhammad, so that Muhammad could have intercourse with that little girl, and that little girl could tolerate, because her body was very thin, she was little girl. Just so Muhammad could have intercourse with her, Aisha's mother was feeding her these dates. So it means Aisha didn't reach puberty. She was not thick. She didn't have this kind of body that she could tolerate intercourse. So this is a lie. This is another lie that Muslims say, that in those times girls used to have uh, heavy bodies, thick bodies, and they used to look like women, and they used to reach puberty at a very early age. But it wasn't like that. This is another proof. And I will show you some more stuff. Okay. Okay, so here are some fatwas which I guess you won't be able to see so mm, like clearly, but again, what is important in Islam is that girls should be able to tolerate intercourse. Even her age is not important. If she has reached puberty, it's not important. She should just be able to have intercourse, to tolerate intercourse, whether she's a child, because Islam only values two things about women: their body, their sexuality, and their ability to have kids. That is the only value of women in Islam. They don't value their intelligence, all these Muslims, and their profit. Okay, that is why you would see that this was the only requirement for a girl to marry, that she should be able to tolerate intercourse. So that's the thing. So this is how women are used in Islam, as making machines, as sex machines. So this is how you won't see anywhere in Islam that they are talking about a woman's brain, her ability to do anything. Never. You will only see them talking about their bodies. Okay. Here again, this is like from a fatwa, Darul Ifta. Maulana Akil, in his commentary of this hadith, where he has given a commentary on this hadith of Aisha that I just showed you, that Aisha's mother used to feed her, those dates to make her look thick. So here they are telling it that, yeah, it is before her marriage to Muhammad, or before Muhammad had, sexual intercourse with her, just so that she could tolerate intercourse. Her mother used to feed her dates. so she could become plump. Okay, now this is another fatwa which permits enjoying sex or enjoying foreplay with minor girls. Like if you married a little girl, okay, and she has not reached puberty, she is not able to have intercourse, you can still, have foreplay with her, play with her thighs if she has not reached the age of puberty. So yeah, I just showed you another fatwa. So if you have married a little girl, she is not able to do intercourse or handle or tolerate intercourse, you can still play with her. So never ever they talk about a woman's or obviously a kid, a minor girl is not able to give consent. Okay, so you will never see anywhere in Islam, anywhere in Quran, Hadith, talking about a woman's consent. Because obviously, when you allow marriage with minor girls, so there's no question on marital rape or domestic violence or anything. Because now you have married a kid who has no mind of her own, who is not able to give consent. So this is what happens. This is in Urdu. This is in Urdu. So you can see that these mullahs, these Islamic scholars are discussing. But I will tell you, although it's written in Urdu, but they say that before puberty you can marry a little child. Okay, so now the question here is, if a girl is 9 years old, just like Aisha, but not just 9 years old, even though she like reached the age of puberty, but there are some girls who have this medical issue which is called precocious puberty, where they reach the age of puberty even earlier than 9 years of age. They can even reach the age of puberty when they are 11 years old. Here I can show you an article, a research paper. Here in this research paper, a case was presented where a 11-year-old girl with central precocious puberty came to the clinic. So even a 11-month old, even 11-month-old child can have this puberty, like precocious puberty. She can develop secondary sexual characteristics, she can have menses, even 11-month-old. So what you would do in that case? Just because she is having her periods, her menses, like Muslim men will start having intercourse with her, because this is what their outdated book, the Holy Quran, says. This is what they would do. Here again, there are some fatwas which obviously allow marriage with a minor girl. Okay, now another thing, not just Muhammad, but their Caliph Umar. He also married Ali's daughter Kulsum when she was really young. Some sources say that she was 5 or 4 years old. As you can see, Sunni references are given. History of Abdul Fida, Volume 1, page 171. Also, Ar Farouk by Shibli Nomani. These are all their own scholars which have admitted this fact that Umar also married Kulsum when she was 5 or 4 years old. So he was also a pedophile. So not just Muhammad, Umar also had a marriage with a child. Okay, now another fact from their own hadith book that the messenger of Allah, means Muhammad, he saw Habiba, daughter of Abbas, and she was Al Futim, like she was still nursing, like she was so young, probably a 1 or 2 year old kid, that she was still, on breastfeed. And Muhammad saw her. She was just able to crawl, but anyways, Muhammad saw her and he fell in love, and and he decided that he will marry this kid when she will grew a bit older. So basically, he was a pedophile. This is very abnormal thing that a middle-aged man is finding a kid who is just able to crawl, who is on breastfeed. He's able to find this small kid very attractive and suitable for marriage. And this is from their own sources. And he himself said it. If she grows up and while I'm still alive, I will marry her. This is probably a 60-year-old man who is very sure that probably in some years, in coming years, he will not be alive. But still, he has this desire that if I stay alive, I will marry this kid. Luckily, that kid was saved. He was not able to marry her. He died before she could grow old. Okay, so there is another reference, the life of Muhammad. Sirat Rasulullah has also mentioned that how with Habiba, a girl who was just able to crawl, Muhammad fell in love and he said that if she grows up while I'm still alive, I will marry her. This is another source. So here age is mentioned of Prophet Muhammad that he was 55 years old, whereas this girl was just a baby. She could only crawl. Okay, now this is Musnad Ahmad, and you can see the hadith number that how Muhammad saw Habiba, the daughter of Abbas, while she was Fatim, like age of nursing, and he said, well, she will grow up, I will marry. Okay, now here we can see that this is from another source, that Umar was a old age man, and he wanted to marry Kulsum. This is from Tarikh-e-Khamis, volume 2, page 384. And I will read this hadith for you. Umar asked Ali for the hand of his daughter Kulsum in marriage. Ali replied that she has not attained the age of maturity. Umar replied, by Allah, this is not true. You don't want her to marry me. If she is under age, send her to me. Thus Ali gave his daughter Kulsum a dress and asked her to go to Umar and tell him that her father wants to know what this dress is for. When she came to Umar and gave him the message, he grabbed her hand and forcibly pulled her towards him. Kulsum, Kulsum asked him to leave her hand, which Umar did and said, you are a very mannered lady with great morals. Go and tell your father that you are very pretty and you are not what he said of you. And with that, Ali married Kulsum to Umar. So basically, Kulsum didn't like Umar. She didn't want to marry Umar, but Ali made him marry. And Umar was also pedophile because he liked an underage girl for marriage. And he also forcibly pulled her towards him. So you can see what kind of a caliph or what kind of a man he was. Okay, and there you can see there is Sunni historian Ibn Sa'd, and he has written that Kulsum resisted this proposal because Umar had bad reputation He has this reputation for he had reputation for harsh treatment of women. And yes, Umar was a wife beater. As you can see my previous videos, I have told this thing multiple times. He was not just wife beater, he used to beat sex slaves as well. So he was like, okay, now I'll show you another article, that how a human brain matures. Okay, human brain, especially its frontal lobe, where there is prefrontal cortex, it isn't fully mature until around 25 age. Means when you reach the age, and when you become 25 years, the in that age your brain, especially its frontal cortex, fully develops. And when frontal cortex fully develops, it's that age when you can take, rational decisions. Before that age, you are not mature enough. You are not capable of, making any logical, any rational decision. So there is more chance of making mistakes. And by the age of 25, your brain fully develops, especially frontal lobe. Frontal lobe is responsible for rationality, for making you think, for making you a critical thinker, for making you a good uh, person, or a person who has a logical mind, who can make his or her own decision without getting manipulated. So that is why we say that people should get married in their 20s or late 20s at least, because they have reached a time and they had their exposure, they have seen the world, so they can make better decisions. But before that, you are not fully matured, even according to science. Your brain is not fully matured. So what's the point of getting underage girls married? Because you want to control them? That's the only reason. You would have seen this thing. This is very common in Islamic household, in patriarchal household, that one should bring a young wife. Even an old age man wants to bring a younger wife, not just because of her sexual appeal, because of her beauty, but the main reason is because she's not fully mature. She has not seen the world. She has no exposure. And when she will need anything, like when she will, if there is a time, like when she wants to get out of marriage, or when she wants to choose any other thing for herself, she won't be able to, because she has been trapped into marriage at a very young age. So she will probably be helpless. She has not learned anything from life. She has no exposure. Even if she gets beaten up, or she's in a situation where she's getting raped by her husband, she knows that she can't call anyone. She won't be able to do anything. Like if she's getting manipulated, if there is a man who is very dominating, who is manipulating her, who is cheating behind her back, a small girl, an immature girl, won't be able to figure out. She will be easily manipulated. And that is why you would see that in Eastern or in patriarchal household, young girls are preferred. And it is often said by their in-laws that they can gel in with in-laws in a better way, especially young girls. Why? Because they are submissive. They don't have their own mind. They don't know anything about the world. They have no personality. Now that I'm in my late 20s, and I think I have enough exposure, I can tell what is wrong, what is right. By the age of 25, I left Islam. Before the age of 25, I was not able to leave Islam, although I had my doubts. But when I reached 25, I left Islam. So if I was married, like at the age of 10 or even 15, even 18, I will just be a very immature kind of a girl, a kind of a girl who would be easily manipulated. And I think that if at that age I would have been trapped into a marriage with a Muslim man, or if now by the age of 25 I would be having 2 or 3 kids, do you think it will be easy for me to leave Islam? Obviously not. Even in my late 20s or 30s, I would have understood everything about Islam. I would still be trapped in marriage. Why? Because I married early. Now I can't provide for myself. I can't earn. and I'm not educated, I have 2 or 3 kids, my motherhood won't allow me to leave those kids. So this is why Islam allows child marriage to trap girls. Okay. Okay, now we will. Okay, now this is related to medical consequences. The curse of child marriage. 59% girls are married off before their 18th birthday, and pregnancy during 15th and 19th doubles the risk of death than conceiving after 20. So basically, teenage mothers have greater risk. Basically, teenage mothers have greater risk of death during pregnancy. Okay, and what else could happen? Those underage mothers could also suffer from anemia, eclampsia, and obstructed delivery. And why this happens? So because your body, especially your reproductive tract, is not fully developed. And when reproductive tract is not fully developed, girls, especially minor girls, they go through obstructive labor. Like they feel difficulty while delivering, and it is very painful for them. They are not able to handle that pain. Okay, and their bones, their body is fragile. Sometimes their pelvis is not fully developed, so they feel hurdle while delivering a baby, and that is why they often end up dying. Okay, and now I will show you what obstructed labor is. This is obstructed labor. Prolonged pressure of the baby's head crushes the base of bladder against the back of the pubis. Okay, so most of the time what happens is that underage mother, especially if their baby has a big head, so they are not able to deliver that baby. They will feel difficulty, and this thing is called obstructed labor. Their delivery will be prolonged. Like if there is a mature woman, she will deliver a baby easily and in shorter span of time. But if there is a immature girl, she is minor, she will face a lot of difficulty. She won't be able to deliver baby so easily because the baby's head would be bigger and her pelvis won't be fully developed. So she will feel a hurdle. And due to the constant pressure, because normal delivery is not easy, due to the constant pressure, her bladder will be affected and she will develop fistula. This is the obstetric fistula, which is formed during delivery, especially during obstructed labor. Due to constant pressure, a fistula is like an abnormal hole between the bladder and vagina, and sometimes the rectum. An image is showing this hole, that how it happens. So this is like abnormal kind of hole is formed, which is called fistula. It is a very painful situation, and to fix that you have to do a surgery. And after that, for a long time, woman is not able to have intercourse. Okay, and she has other problems, other urinary problems. She's not able to hold her urine, which is called urine incontinence in medical terminology. She will develop depression because it's a very difficult kind of a situation for her. Like she's not able to control her urine, her feces, and it is a very depressing situation. And it is very common in minor girls, minor mothers who go through child marriage. This is a very common phenomenon. Not just mother, even the child is affected, because a mother who is not healthy herself, who is still a kid, uh, is not able to get enough nutrition. Her body is not able to support pregnancy. So baby is also affected. But still, Islamists, after all these things, after all these medical consequences, think that it's good to have child marriages. Let me show you. I will end this live stream, but First, I'll show you a video. So you can see that even those people who embrace Islam, who are sitting in West, they also defend child marriage. Like child marriage thing is not very common in West, but those people who embrace Islam there, they are so patriarchal. Even though I don't know if they are educated or not, but the kind of society they grew up in, still they kind of support child marriage because Islam says so. So you can hear what this man is saying. Despite knowing all the medical consequences, knowing what precocious puberty is, he is defending child marriage. Not just child marriage, but sex slavery, that you can take underage girls as your sex slave in Islam. Just watch it.
It comes at the end of puberty. Are you saying someone can marry and have sex with someone prior to getting their period?
So according to Islamic law, when the body is fully formed because of puberty, the period comes at Tanner stage 4, which is the end of puberty. So yes, when there are signs of physical maturity, then it becomes permissible for the husband in Islamic law to have marital relationships or consummate the relation with his bride. And this is the example of the Prophet, peace be upon him, who married 6.
Before the age of menarche, that's what I'm trying to get.
Before the period.
Okay. I thought your argument originally was this is about maximizing fertility. That's why we need to have child marriages. How can you maximize fertility before a girl is ovulating and menstruating if it's years before then? You're telling me that, what I'm trying to get at and trying to ask is like, so you can have sex, marry and have sex with a girl years before she has her period. If that's the case, how is this about maximizing fertility and not about just sadistic pleasure?
Well, I didn't make an argument about maximizing fertility, but I'll still give you the courtesy of addressing your question. What evolutionary biologists suggest, like David Buss, is that this kind of attraction and wanting to, because they've done studies where they show body outlines without ages of females, and they show a body outline, like a silhouette of a female at age 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and they ask adult men, which body type do you find most attractive? The men don't know what the ages are, they just see the silhouette. And when you tally all of the responses, the most popular, or the most attractive silhouette body shape is of a 14-year-old. So that's something that is explained evolutionarily. I don't believe in evolution, I know that you do, but they explain it that this is an adaptation, because if you can start fertilizing a female as soon as she's showing signs of an imminent fertility, the period, menarche, then that will maximize, because you secured the female right at the beginning, the start of when she will potentially...
You still have sex before you start maximizing fertility, right?
When the body is physically mature, according to Islamic law.
Do you know what precocious puberty is?
Yes, I do.
Okay, what is it?
It means starting puberty unusually early, like beyond averages.
Is there anything in Islam that prevents you from, a man marrying a 5 precocious puberty?
No, marriage can happen, you can arrange a marriage even as an infant, but that doesn't mean that sex is allowed.
Okay, could a man have a marriage to a 5-year-old consummated if she started precocious puberty?
If she starts showing signs of physical maturity, then yes, that's permissible, as I stated. That's
what about age 4?
If there are signs
3.
So this is something that becomes biologically impossible, because precocious puberty...
I have a study that shows it goes as early as 11 months.
Right, well, that's something that the parents would not... see, the thing about Islamic marriage is that parents are involved at these ages. And when you look at the marriage of the Prophet, peace be upon him, to Aisha, her parents were involved. And so she was not living with the Prophet, peace be upon him, even though she was married to him. So the parents have oversight, and sometimes a body or a judge can have oversight if the guardians are not capable, to make sure that the rights and the physical well-being of a child or a minor are not harmed by that marriage.
What about, because you've tried to justify sexual slavery after a war. So what if a man finds a 7-year-old, let's say, started her period, could he take her back as a sex slave?
So that's a whole different debate on slavery and concubinage.
I'm just talking about the minor aspect. Would that be fine?
Yeah, so if a girl is any age, she can be taken as
a sex slave, right?
Yeah, as opposed to being left to die after war.
So women can't take care of themselves. They would need to be taken by the men because they're too capable of caring for themselves.
We'll leave them. 10 seconds. Islam, a 4-year-old, a 7-year-old, an
No, I'm
8-year-old,
talking
a
about the women
9-year-old.
and the children.
Yeah, this is the topic of sex slavery, which is also endorsed in the Old Testament and practiced by Moses and other prophets.
So you can see what that man said. He just said, like, because a teenage girl's body is attractive for men, and because when a girl will get married, very early on, so like in this way, they will be able to preserve that girl's fertility. Like she would be able to deliver more kids. Like especially a woman who marries late, like in her 30s, mid 30s, late 30s, she will probably have less kids. But if you marry a woman at a very early age, like she just reached puberty or even before puberty, you can maximize her fertility. So for them, for Muslims, woman is just baby producing machines. So women can't have any brain, they can't have their own personality. This is what Islam says. Okay, now I'll read some comments. Supreme Yaskin says, Namaskar, Arisha Rajput. Thank you. Okay, here is another Tamur. He's a Muslim. He says that it's a sunnah. Yeah, like child marriage, pedophilia is a sunnah. So he says that because it's a sunnah, so there cannot be anything wrong with it. So yeah, obviously, so for them, their Prophet Muhammad is role model. If he kills, if he rapes, or if he makes anyone into sex slave, and if he sells them like a pimp, so that's also fine because he's a prophet. He can do anything and get away with it. But people would have to pay the consequences, especially those girls, those little girls who unfortunately are born in Islamic states like Iraq. They are bearing those consequences of their beloved prophet's action because he married a 9 years old girl. Now they all have to get married in 9 years. So obviously it's a sunnah. So this is kind of a legacy of rape that Prophet Muhammad left for the world, especially for Muslims. Okay, now Upasan says irony. Nabi Muhammad himself married 6-year-old Aisha and made child marriage legal. Yeah, that is why. That is why this anti-child marriage thing in 21st century is a big deal for a Muslims. Whereas in every other civilized country, it's banned. Okay. Okay. Upansan says, Arisha, sister, keep exposing this mother full support to your ex-Muslim movement. Thank you so much. The omni power of infinity says child or marriage with a young girl or immature girl is a shameless and an act of illiteracy. Yes, that is why. And you will be amazed that there are educated Muslims who still say that child marriage should be legalized because their prophet did so. So whatever their prophet did, it's okay for them to follow. Okay, child marriage or marriage between immature two people is an oppression, and a person who does is an oppressor and sinful. Yes, it is like that. For a common person, it is like that. But for Muslims, it is not like. Now here you can again see this is another Muslim, the same guy Tamur. He say that it's Allah's order, so it's fine. You know, okay, immature children marriage can result in child trafficking. Yes, it is like that because a kid has no mind. He can't or she can't give any consent. They have no exposure, so they can be easily trapped into anything. That is why you would see in Pakistan, in madrasas, this sunnah is being followed. Kids are raped there, even boys are raped. Okay, it is satanic order, not of true creator. Yes, that is true. Indra is saying, good job, Sister Arisha. Thank you so much. Now, Omni says a true God can never give such order about underage or immature age girl marriage. Yes, it is like that. But for Muslims, it isn't like that. They will just blindly follow anything that their beloved, so called beloved prophet did. Okay, this Quran is not complete or not completely divine, but also satanic. Yes, it is like that. Okay, here Tamur is giving the same kind of excuse which I can tell you in English. He is saying that in Arab, weather used to be so hot that girls used to mature. I don't know what is the relation between this hot or warm weather and girls getting mature early, because it wasn't like that for Aisha. She was fatten up. She was made to eat, like dates, just so she could get fat. She could become fat. She could get thick for Muhammad, and she would be able to handle interviews. Due to due to this Quran, there is no peace, justice, equality, and safety. Yeah, that is true. This is very true. Okay, Kafirophobia is saying they only knew V spot and absolutely no knowledge about pelvic region and bone development. Yes, it is like that. Or for them, woman is just a vagina. That is why in Islam, or especially in Arabic culture, woman is called aurat. Aurat herself, this word is aura, which means private part, like vagina. So woman is just a vagina for them. Okay, in today's people, were they won't given such a young age. Yeah, true. That's true. Okay. Now, human being is saying, good job, Arisha. Thank you so much. Okay. Omni is saying his wives were not happy with him. So how come such men will be innocent who does not fulfill woman's basic need like clothing, good food, other? Yes, it was like that. It was like that, and he was not even able to give them proper time. Once he had his he was supposed to have this time with Aisha or Hafsa, but he was caught with Maria. So he was not even able to fulfill their needs. Okay. Stop worshipping or praising past unseen dead. Yes, it is like that. Muslims are very delusional. Most of the religious people are delusional. But Muslims are delusional to the next level because they don't even accept what whatever wrong things their prophet did. So it is like that. RC Raj is saying always informative. Thank you so much. Mommy Neha is saying hello sister, good afternoon. Thank you so much. Supreme Yaskin is saying why is he living in Kuffar nation? Yeah, this is very strange. Like this is Daniel Hikachu. He was basically white guy who accepted Islam. But I think now he should go to Islamic country. If he wants Sharia, if he wants to have these child marriages, four marriages, polygamy or anything, he should just go to some Islamic country. Why? I don't know why he's sitting in West. But this is the problem. These Muslims, they want to spread their filth. That is why they move to West. Rahul says respect to every female. Okay. Ashu is saying hello. Hello, Ashu. Okay, now I will end this stream and thank you so much everyone for joining. I will try to come live tomorrow again as well. And this is like occasion of Eid ul Adha, and I'll probably try to discuss something about Eid ul Adha. Okay, we will also discuss it that how it affects Muslims' mentality and why they are so barbaric. And thank you so much everyone for watching. Thank you.